Okay, ladies, it is time for me to answer your questions about Jamberry application. I made a separate video about Jamberry removal, so be sure to check that out. I'll be posting that in a little bit. So the first thing I want to talk about is nail prep. Nail prep is something you can do that's really going to improve the application of your nail wraps. You want to make sure your nail is clean and dry. I usually wash my hands with Dawn dish soap and just regular old dish soap, and then rub across the nail beds just to make sure you get all the lotion and any extra oils off your nail. The next thing you want to do is, before you apply your nail wraps, you want to wipe them with an alcohol prep wipe. This is just your regular old prep wipe that you can get at the dollar store or at Walmart. And one more thing, if you have an invisible cuticle, you want to remove that before you apply your wraps, because that's going to be a film between your wrap and your nail. And what an invisible cuticle is not your actual cuticle up here around the edge of your nail. It is a little bit of a film that grows down the nail a little bit. You can test for it by taking an orange stick and scraping across the top of your nail here. And if you start to see something flaking up, that's your invisible cuticle. So to remove that, you can just use your orange stick and scrape across. I have no invisible cuticle on these nails, but I have one on this nail, both hands. So I just clean that up by gently scraping across the nail. It just kind of peels up, and then you're good to go. When you're pushing your cuticle back, also, you don't need to get real forceful about it. Just gently pull your cuticle back. If it hurts, don't do it. That's too much. So that is nail prep. The next thing is sizing your nail wrap. It's very important to have the correct wrap size. If it is too big, you're going to have it touch your cuticle and the side of your finger, and it's not going to seal, and you'll get wrinkles, and the wrap might start peeling up. So to size your wraps, the easiest thing to do for me, and I'll show you what I do. I cut out my wraps. This is my sheet, and so I just cut them out so they're individual wraps, and that way I can actually hold them up to my nail and bend them a little bit and pretend that I'm applying them, and I can see if it really fits. If you have a slight gap, that's totally fine. People can't see the gaps around your nail wrap. If that gap bothers you, if the feeling of that gap kind of catches your attention, I know some people are more sensory than others. A good thing to try is try a matte wrap, a matte or a satin. This is Broken Arrow. This is one of our new satin wraps, and it's really pretty. And one thing that I totally love about it is it's so soft on your nail, and it's thin. The matte and the satin are a little thinner than the other wraps, so even if there's a little bit of a gap, you don't really feel it. It's more, it's thinner to your nail like nail polish would be. So that is what I would say about the gap. It's okay, but if you don't like it, try a thinner wrap. Let me show you. I'm trying to follow my list here of the questions that you ladies have for me. Let me show you how I apply my wraps and how I position them on my nail. So I just cut my nail wrap. This is the one for my ring finger. I cut it in half. This is the cuticle pusher. If you have one around the house, this is a perfect tool. Otherwise, it comes in our application kit. And you're going to lift your wrap off the backing. You do not want to touch the back of the nail wrap with your bare finger, because you're going to transfer oils and it won't seal as well. So I always stick my nail wrap to the end of my cuticle pusher, so that I can position it easier. And then you can just line it up. All right. So what I've done is just very gently laid the wrap on my nail. It's actually kind of sticking up all over the place. But the reason I do this before I heat it is the nail wrap is still, it is not so flimsy and it's not going to curl on you, and then you're also not activating the adhesive yet, so if you have to, you can pick up your nail wrap and move it around your nail. A tweezers is also a really great tool for application because you can turn the nail wrap if you have to without getting any of your oils on it. And now it's right where I want it. I'm going to turn on my mini heater, let it warm up for just a second. And again, you can use a hairdryer. And I'm just going to heat up my nail wrap for about 5 seconds. There we go. Taking my cuticle pusher, start in the middle, and then work around the sides. And you want to apply nice, even pressure on all the sides and along the edge of your nail. I'm recording this video while you guys are playing Last Comment, and you are blowing up my iPad right now. I have notifications galore. So, now I've got it on my nail, and you can either use a nail clippers or a nail scissors, and I like to trim off this excess here. There we go. And you can push it down a little bit more. And then you take your nail file and you just file off right to the edge of your nail. And if you notice, I'm holding the file at a slight angle. It's not straight up and down because it's going to tear up my finger, tip of my finger. And it's not laid completely flat because you'll take off like a whole quarter of your nail wrap. So just file off the excess at a slight angle. I usually let my jams cool off. Make sure they're you're not doing this right after you heat them. Just for the purpose of the video I am for you guys to show you, so it goes a little bit faster. So now I have it filed and it's just hanging on a little bit because I have short nails right now. So what you can do is just come in with your nail clippers or your nail scissors, clip that up. And I have a little bit of a sharp edge going on there. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's kind of just sticking up funny. And you can take your nail clippers and come in and trim that edge right off. For me, the best application and the longest lasting jams is when I take off just a tiny sliver of the wrap off the edge of my fingernail, so there's just like a pencil line of my nail showing. And that way, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. That way, when I use my nails as tools, like I do, I know you're not supposed to, but I do, you're not going to catch the edge of your nail wrap. It's going to sit back just slightly on your nail so that, you know, you're picking stuff up or you're picking at something or you're using your nails, you're not going to lift the wrap up. So now that it's all filed, I'm going to heat it one more time. I use a little corner of a plastic bag that I cut off, wrap it around the nail and pull down so that you get tension over that tip of your nail. I'm going to go ahead and heat it again. And this nail mini heater sits really nice on a table. I'm just holding it, so I'm not sure if you guys can see it or not. So we got about 5 seconds, and I'm moving my finger around because I don't want to burn. You don't want to hold it right in one spot and burn your fingertip. And then you take your cuticle pusher, give a good pressure all the way around, and especially across that tip of your nail. And voila, I've applied my nail wrap. Okay, ladies, so I just want to go over the list and make sure that I covered everybody's questions. One thing I did want to tell you about the wrap sizes, and also if the gap bothers you, you can trim your wraps. They're very easy to cut, and the way you do that is you just pick a wrap that's slightly larger, and you can just trim along this straight edge here and cut it down to the size that you need. I would say that recreating this curve is a bit tricky, so if you can keep the curve, that's going to make it easier. You're going to do a little bit less cutting, but as with anything, if you experiment with it and you like the results, it's going to get easier the more you do it. So that might be something that you kind of want to play around with. You'll be able to get a custom size on your wraps by trimming them. And then application order. I don't really have a particular order, I guess. I kind of thought about it, and I guess I do my left hand first because I'm right-handed. And so I go ahead and do that hand. I get practiced, get the feel for it, and then I use my left hand, which is kind of awkward for me, and I apply to my right hand, and that seems to go smoothly for me. So I would suggest that for you guys, you know, use your dominant hand first and then go ahead and use your other one. As far as how long the jams last, my jams personally last 7 to 10 days. I'm really hard on my hands. I'm always washing my hands and doing dishes and all that good mom stuff, so they look great right up to a week to 10 days. And I have some fellow consultants whose wraps have lasted 16 days. So I think that's really phenomenal wear time. And, you know, you have to see how long they last for you. It's all about making sure that you have proper nail prep and application, and you're going to get the longest application, the longest wear possible on your wraps. So I hope that I answered all of your questions. If you need me to clarify anything, or if you have more questions, have some follow-ups, just comment below. And thank you, ladies, for participating and for asking me these questions. I really love answering you guys, and I hope you have a good night. Thanks.